Hey guys, Ultra Maximus back with another movie update. This time I want to talk about Justice League, the movie. Uh, Looking at a fan-made poster here, obviously. There's nothing out yet promotion-wise for this because we're still in the early stages of this film. But there have been some rumors popping around on the internet, and I wanted to talk about them because some of them I think are very interesting, some of them I don't particularly care for. So there's been talk of particular characters in the film, and just today, rumor has been thrown out there of a villain via DarkHorizons.com. Latino Review has come up with a potential villain for this franchise. So I want to talk about that stuff, talk about what other characters we may expect to see, which characters we can expect not to see. So let's take a look. Okay, first and foremost, these two characters have been heavily rumored this past week and last week of being in this film. Batman and Superman. That's almost a given. And with the success of The Dark Knight Rises this summer, which is about to hit Blu-ray pretty soon, this week actually, I think, and Henry Cavill is going to be Man of Steel, the new film by Zack Snyder, and the next Superman movie. There were some interesting rumors that have been floating around about this. Now, at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, if you have not seen the film, you're about to be spoiled, so just stop watching now. Jordan, Jordan, Gordon Levitt's, Joseph Gordon Levitt's character finds the Batcave. He's kind of palling around with Batman throughout the whole movie, and Batman essentially leaves him the Batcave at the end so he can go in, and it's just kind of left up in the air whether he's going to become Batman, whether he's going to join Bruce Wayne as a Batman and Robin team with his actual given name being Robin. So that was all kind of left up in the air. And the last I had heard was that they were talking about he was joining Batman. Batman hadn't actually quit or retired. He just freed himself from being Bruce Wayne. Watch the film, you'll understand what's going on. Now, the rumor is Joseph will be joining Justice League as Batman. So he's going to be taking over the role of Batman. I don't know if I like that or not. I really kind of don't. My first impression is I don't like it at all. If you're going to have somebody else play Batman, totally disconnect from that Chris Nolan franchise and start over. There will be no reboot of Batman prior to Justice League. The next time we see this character, if we see him in Justice League, will be in that film. But don't make it Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think that would be a mistake. Also, this week, Zack Snyder was asked about a connection between Superman and the Man of Steel film and the Justice League, and he was very coy about it, saying he doesn't know anything about that. Of course, blah blah blah. He doesn't want to ruin his film. Go see it. And there was also rumor that Gordon Levitt would make a cameo somewhere in the film, possibly as a stinger, as Batman to set him up for the Justice League. So lots of rumors going around. Man of Steel will kind of set up to go into Justice League with uh, Gordon Levitt as Batman. So I guess we'll see what goes on with Man of Steel come next year. Interesting. I absolutely don't mind, Cavill going into the in the Justice League franchise, just like Marvel. I mean, it's an obvious setup that Marvel has put together that's done pretty well, where you've got each individual film establishing an origin for each character, Superman, Batman, etc., and then you dump them into a Justice League movie, just like the Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. Each had their individual origin stories, so you didn't have to waste time introducing these characters in the Avengers. They exist, you pull them in, you go forward. Brilliant concept. It's the same concept they've done in comic books. So, yes, it would make sense DC would replicate this. However, they have characters that aren't established yet, and we'll talk about that. We've got the three that really kind of stick out. You've got Green Lantern, Superman, and Batman. Those are really the only characters that have been established for a Justice League film. So what do we do about the others? Do we establish their origins in Justice League? Do they introduce other movies prior? Well, the odds are we won't get an introduction of those characters in their own films prior, because Justice League is, I believe, set for a 2015 release date. So that gives them 2 years to fill out the rest of these characters, which just is not going to happen. So who is the villain going to be? Well, let's take a look. So according to darkhorizons.com, much like how the Avengers are going to use Thanos in their sequel, it looks like the rumor mill has it Darkseid will be the big bad guy for the Justice League film debut, which of course we see Darkseid emerge at the end of the Smallville series, where this picture comes from. And that's not a bad idea for a villain. I don't mind him being the villain. He's big, he's powerful. My question is, where do you go from there? I personally would use a different villain for the first film, and maybe use Darkseid as the villain for the third act. A lot of these films like to go into trilogy aspects because the motion picture company can make more money in a 3-part play. Thank you, Star Wars. And it's just more fun for fans that way. So if you're going to use him, I'd use him at the end. But, I'm not making the film. So, yes, he would make a great bad guy. So at this point, it's really kind of up in the air whether he's going to be or not. If you don't know who Darkseid is, pick up a Superman comic. He's the ruler of Apokolips. He's one of the new gods, one of Jack Kirby's creations. He's very powerful, very cool, quite potentially one of the biggest, baddest DC villains that are out there. So, yes, he would make a good villain. Personally, I would save him for a big finale, but then again, maybe they don't know if this is going to fly like the Avengers did or not. So I guess we'll see. Who else could have made a good villain? Personally, I think Sinestro would have made a good villain to start off the Justice League franchise. We see Sinestro turn from one of the greatest Green Lanterns in the Green Lantern film to the villain at the end. He was a stinger in the credits, taking the yellow ring of fear and fulfilling becoming Sinestro. It would have made a really nice introduction and transition from the Green Lantern film into the Justice League to assemble Earth's, greatest heroes to fight off a Sinestro war. But maybe they're going to save that for a Green Lantern sequel. I don't know. The Green Lantern film is only so-so. I would like to see Sinestro come back. I think he was probably the best part of the Green Lantern film. Whether they use him for a villain in a sequel to that movie, I don't know if they even make the sequel to the film. If not, he would be a great transfer into the Justice League, in my opinion. Another great villain would have been Starro, who was one of the first Justice League villains, the giant starfish from space that controls, people's minds. I think that would have been a great villain to kick it off, to start it off. I think Sinestro would have made a better villain than Starro, and you might have had to change Starro a bit, maybe make Starro a humanoid. I don't know. But as it stands right now, it looks like Darkseid may, in fact, be that villain for the film. While we're talking about Green Lantern, let's talk about some of the other characters we could probably expect to see. I would expect to see Green Lantern in the film. Since we already have an established movie, I would bank money that he would be in there. Will Ryan Reynolds be playing the Green Lantern? I don't know. That film only did so-so. Certain fans liked it. I thought it was an okay movie. It wasn't the greatest, but I don't think it met DC's expectations of what they wanted out of the film. So it's kind of up in the air whether we'll see this incarnation of Green Lantern. We may see a Jon Stewart version. Uh, the black guy who was Green Lantern for the longest time, and also the kind of the main Green Lantern for the Justice League cartoons. I personally would like to see Hal Jordan since they've already established him, but I wouldn't mind seeing John Stewart either. They're both really good Green Lanterns. I guess we'll see which way DC decides to go. Other characters we expect to see. A lot of people think the Flash is going to be in this film. It would not surprise me to see the Flash in this movie. Personally, I think Ryan Reynolds would have made a better Flash than he does a Green Lantern, but I'm not the casting director over at Warner Brothers. We don't have an established movie for him, so they'd have to quickly bring his origin into the film. I, I don't know how they're going to do that and make the film not bogged down with too much multiple stories. But this is definitely a heavy hitter that would likely appear in the film. Another strong potential to be in the film is Aquaman. Again, we don't have a film to establish the character's origin, but he is a heavy Justice League hitter. I personally like the revamped Aquaman, where when he first came up onto the land, he mumbled a lot. He had a weird accent because he was an Atlantean, and he was stronger than most because he was used to dealing with, the pressures under the ocean, and sound travels better underwater. So he had really good hearing, and he mumbled because he wasn't used to speaking out loud. But we'll see. I don't even know if he'll make the cut. He's kind of up in the air to me as far as whether he would actually be in there. I think he would be a good character, but we'll see. All right, so the Green Arrow, another strong possibility of being in the film. I don't know if he will or not, to be honest. We've got the CW Arrow, so we really don't have to create a new origin for him, maybe mention it, because the CW's Arrow is so new and it's so fresh in people's mind. It might suffice as an origin story for this film. I doubt, in fact, I can say that we will not see the main actor play the Green Arrow from the film or from the TV show, but he does a good job. The show's actually not too bad. It's a more gritty version of Smallville to me. But the other thing that kind of pushes me away from seeing Green Arrow in the Justice League, we if we include Batman, these two characters are too much alike. Both gritty, both mean, both playboy millionaires with a bunch of gadgets. The Green Arrow on the show has less gadgets, but he still has the Arrow gadgets. So it kind of pushes me away. Also with Aquaman, if they bring him in, kind of backtrack that a bit. If Superman is going to be in it, there's your muscle. So we really wouldn't have much use for Aquaman being additionally strong. So he'd have to be more reliant on his Aquaman fish talking powers, I guess. I don't know. Both big contenders, but I'm kind of pushing away from Green Arrow at this point. All right, Wonder Woman. Definitely a must have, you would think, in a Justice League film. However, I don't know if that's going to be the case. We've just recently had this failed pilot. This picture coming from that, the Josh Whedon failed pilot for NBC. The CW is coming up with a new series called Amazon, which is going to be very Smallville-like, except they're changing her name to Iris. I don't like that at all. And she's not from Amazon Island. She's from some other nation in Europe. I'm not digging the details on that. You'll have to check that stuff out there. But again, if we have Superman, why do we need Wonder Woman in the dynamic? Other than the fact that she would be the token chick character. And I can think of a better token chick character than Diana. All right, if you're going to have a female character in the group, why not go with somebody like Black Canary? She's definitely badass. She's hot. She's blonde. She wears leather. She wears stockings. She could really pick up that Black Widow role that we have in the Avengers movie and the Iron Man films. She could definitely kind of jump in and pull that niche. and she's got her screaming superpower. So, will we see her? I don't know. They may save her for Arrow. I guess we'll see. Another character that would be really cool could be Hawkman. Um, Here we have him from Smallville. You could go the mystical route with this guy rather than make him an alien like they did in Smallville. And that would be really cool. I think the CG would be neat. I think the character would be pretty awesome. We really don't have anything especially attached to him as far as Batman or Superman. He fills his own niche. You could also spin it and put Hawkgirl in it if you're looking for that female character lead, uh, a la Justice League cartoons. They used her instead of Hawkman. I could easily see that happening as well. And I think he would look amazing, or she would look amazing, set up in the armor and in the wings on the screen. It would be awesome. Other characters. At first, I thought, this could be a good possibility. Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. They kind of come as a pair. They're pretty cool characters. They're B-teamers, but I don't think this is going to be the case, especially with Blue Beetle, because he's much, much too much like Batman. He's kind of a scientist, a little bit of a detective. He's got all the Beetle gadgets, whereas we've got that with Batman, so we really don't need that. Whereas Booster Gold's got a different origin, and while their characters would go well together, I really doubt we're going to see these guys. Although I wouldn't mind seeing them as their own film. I think that would be pretty cool. But who knows if that would ever happen. I just really doubt we'll see any of these characters, which is a shame because I would like to see some of the B-listers actually make it into this film. If not, an entire cast of B-listers that you don't normally see. The Super Seven, not the Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, some of these characters that don't get a bunch of spotlight. Another kind of mainstay character that's a bit of a B-lister would be the Martian Manhunter. Again, this is from Smallville with Dr. Fate and Martian Manhunter here. Definitely, I don't think we'll see Dr. Fate. He's a cool character, but I just don't see him meshing with Superman and Batman on the onset for sure. Martian Manhunter, possibly, would be really cool, I think, as far as the special effects are concerned. However, we've already got the Alien. We've got Clark Kent, so I don't think they would introduce another alien in the film. I don't think. But if we did do an alternate B-list group, when they rebooted the Justice League years back, it was Martian Manhunter and Green Arrow and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and that was a cool group. I really did like that. I think that probably honestly would serve better as a film than bringing Batman and Superman in from a fan point of view. However, from a movie company point of view, they've got to have bats and soups in there. I can definitely see that. And if Superman's in there, I don't think there's going to be another alien. Captain Marvel. Would love to see this guy in the film. However, it's not going to happen because it's the Wonder Woman problem. We've already got Superman. Why do we need another big, badass, super strong guy that can fly? It's not going to happen. This, I could totally see more on his own film if they were to make this movie a Captain Marvel film. I think that it should be very film noir. It should be a city like we see Detroit and The Crow, where it's dark, it's dirty, it's cringy, and the only point of goodness and light in the entire city is Captain Marvel. He's a beacon of hope. And, give it a 1940s feel, kind of like the Captain America movie. I think that's really the only way that we'll ever see this guy on screen, and I think that would be good. Don't think we're going to see this guy in the Justice League film, period. Plastic Man. Here's another B-lister. Kind of always thought of as a worthless character. I've always liked him. when he's used properly, he used to be a bad guy, becomes a good guy. It's kind of the whole um, shtick they had with Black Widow and Hawkeye in the Avengers films. You got these kind of bad guys got turned into good guys, which happened in the comics. And I think this would be a nice plot motivator in the film with this guy. I could really see Batman just on his ass, making sure that he stays on the path of good, and maybe it's Batman that brings him in, those kind of things. The special effects with this guy would be awesome. You could do so much with him. We might want to change up his suit a little bit, or not, keep him kind of a carnival looking guy and just really exploit how ridiculous it is and how ridiculous he is. So I think he would be good on film, but I don't think he's somebody that we're going to see in the movie, at least not this one. Maybe we'll see a cameo by him or some of the other little B-listers throughout the film, nods to him at least. But something tells me, although he would make great special effects and he would make for a great plot device, I don't see him making an appearance in the film. The Red Tornado. Now, here's a strong possibility. I could see him being in the film. He's an android. He's got the powers of wind control, where he can funnel these wind powers. So he's got an ability nobody else has. He's not an alien. He's not some kind of metahuman. He's an android. And that can totally, totally work in this mix, in this Justice League mix. He's a distinct possibility. I'm sure his outfit would be dramatically changed, but I could totally see this being a character in the film. Oh, and the Wonder Twins. Uh, these characters are kind of funny because they have made multiple appearances and nods here and there throughout series. We've seen a nod to them in the old Batman animated show. They were statues in one of the Joker's hideouts. They were in the Justice League as bad guys, I think, along with some of the other Super Friends only characters. We see them in the Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited cartoon as bad guys. We see them in Smallville. So these characters kind of pop up here and there, and they do have interesting morphing abilities, and they're so cheesy, but they're so ingrained with the superheroes in Justice League and Super Friends that if they don't appear in the film, having some kind of nod to them would be fantastic. In fact, there are a lot of characters that I would love for them to put little nods here and there to, just all across the board. You got Fire and Ice, you've got Blood Hawk, you've got, oh man, there's so many. Zatanna, you've got Constantine that you can make a note in there for. You've got Cyborg, Beast Boy, all the Titans. There are so many characters that can make so many nods that would be fantastic in the film, and I hope we do see some of those kind of things. But as far as these guys actually making the film, I really doubt it at all. Hopefully we do get a nod to him at least somewhere, maybe as a circus poster on the wall of an alley or something, who knows. But there it is, guys. Those are the rumors. We're definitely probably going to see Batman and Superman. It looks like Gordon Levitt is going to be our Batman in the film, unfortunately, for me. And Cavill is going to be Superman, which is okay, that's fine. Superman probably going to lead into Justice League. We may get a cameo of Batman in the Man of Steel film. Darkseid is looking like he's going to be the big bad guy for the movie. What do you guys think? Who would you like to see in the movie? Who do you think would not make the film? Leave a comment, leave a video. I'd love to hear from you guys. And as soon as I find more information out on this film, I'll definitely let you know. Thanks for watching, and take a look at my other videos and subscribe if you like it. Have a great week.